Did you know the average person spends nearly half their waking hours comparing themselves to others? Think about that for a second. From the moment you scroll through Instagram while sipping your morning coffee, to sitting in traffic on your commute, or even at a family dinner when your cousin talks about their new promotion, comparison sneaks in everywhere. No wonder so many of us feel drained, insecure, like we're constantly falling behind. But here's the truth. That feeling of not enough, it isn't reality. It's a trap. And today, we're going to talk about why we fall into it, how it affects our mental health, and most importantly, how you can break free. Here's the thing. Comparison isn't your fault. It's actually wired into your brain. From an evolutionary standpoint, humans survived by comparing. Imagine thousands of years ago, you see another tribe member with more food or better tools. Your brain instantly goes, I need to keep up, or I might not survive. Back then, comparison was a survival skill. But today, it's on overdrive. Instead of comparing ourselves to 10 people in a village, we're now comparing ourselves to millions online. Perfect bodies, dream vacations, endless highlight reels of success. Think about it. You open TikTok or Instagram, and suddenly your screen is full of people who look like they've got it all together. Someone's at a baseball game, courtside seats, another person showing off their spotless home styled like a magazine cover. But here's the catch. What you're seeing isn't reality. It's a highlight reel. Behind the camera, that same person could be struggling with debt, loneliness, or self-doubt. Things you'll never see on their feed. So, while comparison used to help us adapt and grow, today it often backfires, leaving us anxious, insecure, and exhausted. And that's where things get tricky. Because the more we compare, the more our brain starts to believe that everyone else is winning and we're falling behind. But is that really true? In the next part, we'll dig into the hidden toll of comparison, how it shapes our mental health, and why chasing external validation almost always leaves us empty. Here's what most people don't realize. Constant comparison doesn't just make you feel a little insecure. It takes a real toll on your mental health. Research shows that people who spend more time comparing themselves to others are at higher risk of anxiety, depression, and even lower self-esteem. Think about it. Maybe you're at a coffee shop trying to enjoy your latte when you scroll through your phone and see a friend who just bought a new car or got engaged. Instead of enjoying your moment, your brain instantly goes, why not me? What am I doing wrong? That little voice of not enough starts whispering in the background of your day. And over time, it chips away at your confidence. In fact, psychologists call this the not enough epidemic. Not smart enough, not successful enough, not attractive enough. And the crazy part is, no matter how much you achieve, if you're stuck in comparison, the goalpost just keeps moving. You get the promotion, suddenly someone else is making more money. You lose 10 pounds, someone else is fitter. You buy a house, someone else has a bigger one. It's a never-ending race. And the finish line? It doesn't exist. Here's the truth. External validation, likes, comments, promotions, compliments, can feel amazing in the moment, but it never lasts. It's like eating fast food. Sure, it fills you up quickly, but an hour later, you're hungry again. If your sense of worth is always dependent on what others think or what others have, you'll constantly feel empty. That's why people who look successful on the outside often still feel deeply unhappy on the inside. So if external validation doesn't work, what does? The answer is shifting focus inward, redefining success on your own terms, and building practices that make you feel grounded, grateful, and confident in your unique path. That's what we'll dive into next. So, if chasing external validation keeps us stuck, what's the alternative? It's about redefining success, not by society standards,
but by your own values. Let me give you an example. Imagine two people at the same company. One defines success as climbing the corporate ladder, so they're always chasing the next title. The other defines success as having enough time for family dinners, coaching their kids' baseball team, and still doing meaningful work. Same workplace, completely different definition of success. Which one do you think will feel more fulfilled at the end of the day? The key is creating internal benchmarks. Instead of asking, "Am I better than them?" ask, "Am I growing compared to yesterday? Am I learning something new this week? Am I living in alignment with what matters most to me?" This shift is powerful because it puts the measuring stick back in your hands. Of course, this also means accepting that your journey will look different than someone else's. Maybe your friend is buying a bigger house while you're focused on paying off debt. Or maybe your coworker is traveling the world while you're building a stable career at home. Different doesn't mean less. When you accept your path, imperfections and all, you stop running someone else's race and start walking confidently in your own. Here's a simple exercise you can try tonight. Grab a notebook and write down your top 5 personal values. Things like family, creativity, freedom, health, or community. Then ask yourself, what choices can I make this week that honor these values? For example, if one of your values is health, maybe that means cooking a homemade meal instead of grabbing fast food. If your value is connection, it might mean calling a friend instead of scrolling social media. And here's the cool part. Science backs this up. Neuroscience shows that practicing gratitude literally reshapes your brain. When you regularly focus on what you already have, your brain releases dopamine and serotonin, the same chemicals linked to happiness and motivation. So gratitude isn't just feel-good fluff. It's a practical, biological way to rewire your mind away from comparison and toward confidence. So, redefining success, practicing gratitude, and embracing self-acceptance all build a foundation. But how do you actually live this day to day? That's where practical, actionable shifts come in, shifts you can start using immediately. Okay, so how do we take all of this and make it real in everyday life? Let's start with gratitude. You don't need a fancy journal or a 30-minute routine. Here are 3 simple things you can do. While sipping your morning coffee, name one thing you're grateful for before you even grab your phone. Once a week, text a friend or family member a quick thank you for something small they did. And before bed, ask yourself, what's one good thing that happened today, no matter how small? These little habits sound simple, but when stacked daily, they rewire your brain to notice abundance instead of lack. Next, let's talk about reframing. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" try asking, "How can this help me grow?" For example, maybe you didn't get the job you wanted. Instead of spiraling into comparison, you could reframe it as, "This is an opportunity to sharpen my skills and find a role that truly fits." It's like training your mental muscles at the gym. You don't get stronger by avoiding resistance, but by learning to push through it. Now let's talk about that inner critic, the voice that says, "You're not good enough." One powerful technique is called Name the Critic. Give that voice a silly name like Naggy Nancy or Critical Carl. Then, when it shows up, you can say, "Thanks for your opinion, Carl, but I'm doing this anyway." This little trick separates you from the negative voice and gives you the power to choose how to respond. And finally, boundaries. Protecting your mental space is just as important as protecting your physical space. That might mean muting or unfollowing accounts that constantly trigger comparison, saying no to events that drain your energy, or even setting a rule like no social media after 9 p.m. Remember, every time you say no to what doesn't serve you, you're saying yes to your peace of mind. So now you've got the tools: gratitude, reframing, silencing the inner critic, and boundaries. But how do we tie all of this together into a bigger shift? A life where you stop competing with others and start thriving on your own terms. That's exactly what we'll wrap up with in the final part.
So let's zoom out for a moment. We started by uncovering the comparison trap, how our brains are wired to measure ourselves against others, and how social media has turned that into a 24/7 highlight reel. Then we talked about the hidden costs, the anxiety, the not enough mindset, the constant chase for external validation. But we also discovered something powerful. You can rewrite the rules by shifting focus to your own values, your own growth, and your own gratitude. You reclaim the driver's seat of your life. Comparison doesn't have to control you. It's not your truth. It's just a habit. And habits can change. Here's what I want you to remember. Your life isn't meant to be a race against someone else's timeline. It's a journey, your journey. Think about it. At the end of the day, nobody is handing out trophies for most followers or best Instagram feed. What really matters is whether you feel fulfilled, whether you feel proud of the path you're walking. And the truth is, you already have everything you need. Gratitude sharpens your vision. Boundaries protect your peace. And self-acceptance keeps you grounded, no matter what's happening on someone else's screen. If this video sparked something for you, here's your next step. Start with one practice today. Maybe it's jotting down one thing you're grateful for, or muting that account that always makes you feel less than. And if you found this helpful, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We release new videos every week to help you grow with clarity, confidence, and flow. Also, share this video with a friend who's stuck in the comparison trap. They'll thank you for it. And most importantly, give yourself permission to stop competing and start living your life. Thanks for watching. And remember, the only person you ever need to be better than is the person you were yesterday. See you in the next video.